Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling. I am Sam and I'm joined by the young of the babiest of all the baby Sams. How are you doing?
I'm 25 years old and I'm fine. Thank you very much.
You are young in wrestling terms. Our average viewer is in the 30s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's where we're at.
Hello.
Do you know what? We're like half UK. We've got 33% of the Americans. Hello, America.
Hello, you Yanks.
Hello. 3% Canada.
Hey, Canada.
Hi, Canada.
You like your wrestling.
Got a
Big
couple
up.
of South Africa as well. So New Zealand, Australia.
Ooh, all the British colonies.
Yes. How's the cricket? Welcome to our count out series. This is our top 10 series. And just to make it even clearer, this is our top 10 series. You've had many top 10 series on YouTube where they tell you what the best 10 is. We don't care about that. Wrestling is objective, it's opinionated.
Subjective.
So objective. I'm objective.
Subjective, but it's subjective.
It's subjective, it is based on what you think, it's your opinion, and that's what we're doing in our series. It is our favourite personal top 10, not even what we think is the best.
No.
It's what our 10 best, and today we're looking at what we think are the 10 best feuds in wrestling. So not storyline, not one-off feud. This could be, it could have had a feud in 1997 and then a feud in 2000 and 2003. Best feud of all time. An interesting one, Sam. Many you could choose from, many you might forget about.
Yeah, that's what my main concern is. I'm thinking, have I left like 3 of my favourites out? But I don't think I have. But
And then there might be more modern ones you go, yeah, but that could overtake it. Or some old ones you go, oh yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But before we get into our top 10, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Sam's on Wrestling. And please put in yours. What is your favourite feud, your top 10 even, favourite feuds of all time? We really want to know. Sam, what have you gone with as your number 10 feud? What's your one you've enjoyed the most?
I nearly forgot to put this in.
Really?
And I'm so glad that I didn't. Miz versus Bryan.
Oh, really?
The Miz versus Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
For me, I came into to wrestling about 2008-9, so I kind of saw NXT in the Nexus. So I saw Daniel Bryan's whole story with the Miz there. I got to see him rise up and win the US title and have all that stuff going on. And then one of my favourite things of all time is the Miz on Talking Smack. That promo, that segment.
Well, they did get to feud after that because obviously, Bryan was gone by that point.
Well, almost the feud itself happened before Bryan came back.
Yeah.
When the Miz was taking shots at Bryan and it was and rubbing it in his face, it was so wonderfully done. And they did the feud. It wasn't as good as it should have been, but it was still great.
They had a great feud for the United States Championship and kind of Bryan's first ever feud, really.
Yeah.
It was actually very, very, very good. Yeah.
They are one of those, they're kind of like a Sammy and KO. They'll always be kind of connected.
Who would have thought that?
I know.
Madness.
But because of the longevity of it, I loved it so much. The great moments they did have, it's got to be on there. They're just so polar opposites. They're perfect rivals for each other.
And do you know what? This is the thing that I'm going to find most interesting about mine and yours. There's going to be very little crossover because it's kind of what you are as a child, what you enjoyed the most. Because I'm not going to have Bryan and Miz on mine, but this is why this is a personal list because this is on no one's list. My number 10 is Kane versus Shane in 2003.
I respect it.
I was 11, turning 12. It was absolutely insane. They were on fire. There were ambulance matches. They were jumping off of things. Linda McMahon's getting tombstoned. There's cars getting rammed and things. They're going through fire in a garbage truck. Their testicles are being electrocuted. And I don't care who you are. I want my wrestling to be silly bollocks.
Absolutely.
And that is the most silly bollocks I think I've ever seen in wrestling in such a condensed amount of time.
Cooked bollocks.
And it was so... That's how I'm ending it. That's it. My number 10 is that.
Well, they were.
Sam, you're number 9. What have you got number 9?
Number 9, I've gone AEW, Sam.
Oh, lovely.
I've gone Punk versus MJF.
Oh, of course.
Because of how Punk's time AEW ended, people forget how good this feud really was.
And how good Punk actually was in AEW as well.
Yes, exactly. People don't really remember it. This was such a good feud. I remember the excitement when because the hype of when he came to AEW was unbelievable.
And AEW was really, really, really good at this one. They were riding a crest of a wave.
Absolutely. And then he had that promo with MJF where he went back and forth with them and it was magical and it was great. And you think, okay, where are they going to go from there? Turns out everywhere.
MJF's promo of I was a fan, and Punk coming out going, "Is this real? Is it it felt a bit more real?"
Yeah.
And then the matches they had, by the way,
it was fantastic. The dog collar matches.
Dog collar matches. Brilliant, and it got over another person at the same time. That's how good this feud was. It got over a third person.
Yeah.
It got Wardlow over.
Absolutely.
That's how good a one-on-one feud is.
Yeah.
If you can get over people who are satellites in the story.
It lasted a while. I think when we wanted to see Punk go to AEW and feud with MJF, that is everything we wanted it to be. It lived up to the hype. It was brilliant. And I think it's easy to just look at the negatives with Punk and AEW because that's what you associate it with. But when he left, because we were at Wembley when he had the match with Joe.
We were there, his last ever AEW match.
You said to me we might have seen his last ever wrestling match.
Yes.
Thankfully, that's not the case.
I was so wrong. He appeared in WWE
Like a few months
later. Madness.
But at that time, for a while, we thought that might be Punk done. And I, at the time, thought, thank goodness we've had that run. So we got to see him. Because that run was great. People don't recognise how great it was. And I love the feud. I thought it was awesome. The promo battles, the matches, top class.
My number 9 is probably the most famous feud of all time. It's Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon. Personally, I missed the whole thing. So it's all in retrospect. I do think it's overhyped. It hit the zeitgeist, I think, more than anything, with the fact that Vince is the boss. The 90s about anti-established terrorism, and then you got, Austin being the anti-hero, which is also very current at the time. And it was very hard for Vince to get his comeuppance because he wasn't a wrestler. And when he does get comeuppance, it's like, he's not a wrestler, so it doesn't look as good.
You organically had it with the Brett thing as well.
Yeah, true. But at the same time, everything they did was so much fun. Yeah. And it was the crux of 99. If you actually watch the Attitude Era in 99, it's rubbish. It's actually rubbish. You've got The Rock and Mankind are brilliant. And that's about it. Everyone's got a character. Everyone's doing something, I agree. But the matches aren't very good. The stories are a mess. It's very Russo. It's all over the place. And then 2000 is actually the best stuff, really. But the memorable characters came from, 99 and stuff. But yeah, Austin and Vince, they literally hold 99 together with sticky tape, really. And it not only the sticky tape turned into gold. Yeah. And it is awesome. It can't not be on my list because I have seen every documentary. I've seen so many pay-per-views. I've seen every pay-per-view from 99. I've seen so many Raws. And it's all over it. And it's really entertaining.
I think objectively it could be the best feud ever. But I've not got it on my list just because I never was around. It's not even close. Yeah. No, but I can absolutely respect, and I can respect that it's better than a lot of the feuds that I put on here.
It's not. It's your list.
It's my personal journey and my personal favourites as a wrestling fan. But absolutely, it is legendary.
Sam, you're number 8.
I smile just because I know what I'm about to say, and it brings a smile to my face. John Cena versus AJ Styles. No joke. Oh, is he number 8 as well? You actually know. We have not planned that.
We don't plan anything. Well, that's the rules. We don't know what each other is going to do.
So
this is why we have arguments in power rankings. This is our arguments in controversial tape.
You said we wouldn't have overlap, so we've got the same feud at the same number in very different lists. Very different lists.
How?
Have we done that? Yeah.
Well, AJ Styles, John Cena, every single match is... well, do you know what? No, it's phenomenal because that is what he is. Has there ever been 2 wrestlers who have such contrasting styles, AJ Styles, who have such amazing chemistry?
I can't think of one on the top of my head.
I can't, and it made Cena look even more of a better wrestler. Curtin Ray maybe, but I would... Yeah, that's a great shout, actually. But they never really had a chance to do long matches. These guys did half hours, bangers. Their SummerSlam matches... One of the greatest matches of all time. Was it voted our greatest match of the John Cena brackets? I think was that. Did it win in the end?
Could have been.
I think it won. Yeah. I think it won in the end. It was that good. And the beat up John Cena stuff got over. How did that get over? Like Rover, the Royal Rumble match was so good. It was one of the things where 16 and 17 aren't great, but these matches and these rivalries that these two had just took it to another level. And if you'd have told somebody in 2010, 2009, that John Cena and AJ Styles would be having some of the greatest matches of the modern era, you'd have just gone, no.
No chance.
Particularly with how good John Cena was, and particularly how AJ Styles was so far away from WWE.
And was the landscape at that time, you never thought an organic TNA guy would be able to get that level of push, but
Vince thought it was a fluke. Vince thought the thing was a fluke, and then he saw how good he was against Roman. He did everything. He put Jericho over, then he put Roman over.
Yeah.
He gave him AJ Styles at that SummerSlam, and they just delivered. And he deserved to be WWE champion.
It made him a star, and he was one of the biggest stars of that few years, where it's a dark time, but Styles is one of the shining lights. And this feud had no right to be so good. And they had some great promo battles as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
They really did.
AJ held his own too.
He did. It wasn't just in ring either. I'd put him top 3 of Cena's rivals, and he's had some amazing feuds.
I've got him top 1. I really do. I really think
Punk
he's
and
top
Edge,
1.
but you know my Punk and Edge.
Yeah, but I think it's because they're so famous and they have famous moments. But I tell you what, it's perfect in here, and it's Cena at his best. Because Cena Edge matches are good. Cena Punk matches, one's amazing. The Gus are good, but these are better than all of them, and they really are. Yeah. Number 7, Sam. What have you got at number 7?
This is where I put Edge versus Cena.
Oh, there you go. Edge versus Cena. It didn't make my list, even though it's literally in my era, and it would have been close. I think I had it at 11.
I think this is one of the best feuds of the past 20 years because of how each of their characters play off each other. Talks about Miz versus Bryan. These two are perfect for each other. They made each other. And I was only coming in towards the latter end. So I got the 2009 stuff where there's some great promos. Ed steals the title off Cena in the chamber.
Yeah.
But it's not the prime of the feud.
2006.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
The cash in, the TLC, winning the title after Vengeance, after RVD gets done. Yeah. It's all those two, their chemistry together was fantastic. Edge was on a crest of a wave as well, being the heel, and Cena hadn't quite got full hate. It started this year, but it didn't quite make mine because it doesn't give me as much joy. But I did get joy out of those rivalries. It was brilliant. It's very close. As I said, it was number 11 for me. It was really, really tight.
Yeah,
I really, really loved that rivalry.
Incredible. What have you done?
Kane versus The Undertaker, Sam.
Just in general?
I don't care that every match is awful. I don't care that the rivalry sucks. I don't care.
It's kind of what we're doing the video on.
Every time those two were associated with each other, I had fun.
Yeah, same.
Every time. The rivalry, for a start, from in the 98 to get to WrestleMania 14, from the debut in 97 to WrestleMania, is fantastic. They burn them alive, they debut, the match is good. Then you have the terrible 3 matches they had in 2010, but with the Undertaker's in a vegetative state. But the Undertaker return in 2004 was the reason is that 2004, I'd never seen the Undertaker before as the Undertaker. And obviously Kane being, he'd just taken off the mask and had been really villainous for a year and all that jazz. And the Undertaker's return with all the spooky stuff, the ring moving and the coffin. I was so excited by that I had to put this on this list because as a child, that's the only reason I was turning into Raw. I was enjoying Raw. I wasn't, I would turn it off. But I was there going, when's the Undertaker thing? Yeah. When's the Undertaker and Kane thing? When's the Undertaker? Yeah. Same for Kane and Shane the year before. I just was there going, when they're going to do the next stupid thing? And that's what people forget as a child. If you're watching it and stupid stuff like that's happened, you're going to gravitate towards it. And that's why people gravitate towards characters. And the Undertaker Kane, I don't care that every match stank. They all stink. They all suck. There's a couple of fine ones in there. Yeah. But you know what, Sam? I'm not putting this because of the matches. None of the matches. I'm putting it for all the silly stuff that went around it.
I love the lore around it. Yeah. I just love the history.
It's so great.
And it's always changing. What? So parents are alive, or no, we killed them.
Is Paul Bearer the dad?
Paul Bearer is the dad. No, Satan's the dad. Well, okay. I love it.
I love it too. Yeah. And one day I think we will do, as a pay-per-view review, we'll do Undertaker and Kane, either as a tag team, as against each other, or both, and we'll go through every time they were connected. It'll be a long road because there's a lot of them, but it'll be really good fun. And we move into 6th spot. What have you got in 6th spot?
I think this will surprise a few people because of how recent it is, but I'm going to say it. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns.
Oh, wow, fair enough. Okay.
It's a legendary feud, and I think
it will go down as legendary.
Absolutely. Just because it's kind of fresh out the oven, it seems a bit hasty to go, it's the top 10, but I think no, because
it's been one of the greatest main events of all time.
Twice.
Yeah, so...
And I think when you look... The moment that solidified it for me was, when he's when they're at SmackDown and Cody's about to leave with Jey Uso and then Roman comes out and they just have that stare off. That's when you realise, okay, this is like the big thing. And that was nowhere near the Mania 40, but that was the moment where we were like, oh no, we're going to come back to this for Mania. This is the story, and Rock tried to ruin it, but this is the story that we will finish. It's
They could go back to it.
They could.
And it would be magic.
They will do a trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it. They'll do a trilogy towards the end of the careers.
Yeah.
They're the Rock and Austin of this generation. And they delivered it in the ring. They delivered it in segments and story. I think it's fantastic. And you've got to give them the flowers. And it has been really good TV for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been the best story.
Yeah, it has really been.
Love it.
What are they of this generation?
The Rock and Austin.
That is my number 6 feud.
Nice.
I caught the end of the Rock and Austin feud, but I tell you what, every time they were in the ring together, it's magic. I'm not a massive fan of their matches. I find their matches quite punch-kicky. Very, very punch-kicky, and I don't particularly like punch-kicky moves, and Rock is quite punch-kicky, and Stone Cold is very punch-kicky, sadly, since his neck injury. But quite frankly, I don't care about the matches either. Every time they're in the ring, it's just gold. I think about just before 2001 Survivor Series when they're singing in the ring.
Yeah.
I think about the WrestleMania 17, just before with the JR sit down. Deborah, bang, not a factor.
Thank you. Let's move on to the real stuff.
It's one of the most legendary feuds of all time. It probably would be number 1 and number 2 if I'd have grown up with it. But I got their WrestleMania 19 end, which also was very, very good as a feud. Quite frankly, every time they did a promo off, or one talked about the other, magic. And they had some good matches. 17 is brilliant, and 19 is brilliant. If you go, I'm going to enjoy the punch kickiness.
And you know what, that face-off in the Rumble as well.
Yes, well, this is the difference, right? You know when people are there going, I want John Cena, Randy Orton this year. I want John Cena, Randy Orton this year. Watch the Royal Rumble 2011. They have a stare down, and it's silence. Complete apathy. There is not a noise. These are the 2 biggest stars in the company. And there's nothing, because everyone was done. They were sick of it. Stone Cold and The Rock, maybe not as faced as many times, but had faced quite a lot over 99 up to 2001. They face off in the Rumble, and everyone goes mental. Absolutely. Just to put it in perspective, they'd been in a match at the pay-per-view beforehand, because they were in the Armageddon down in the cell. So they had been in the ring, literally in a pay-per-view the month before.
Stone Cold stunned The Rock at the end of that, and then Kurt got the pin. So they'd fought.
And yet they still went mental, and that's how big these 2 were. And I don't care. I don't want to watch Cena and Randy Orton this year.
No. They would be on my list if it was an objective
They might
list.
have already fought by now, for all me and you know.
True. Who knows?
Number 5, Sam. Number 5.
Now, you got to hear me out of this one. People will hear this and go, "Oh, the match sucked." Yes, but the feud, Triple H versus Randy Orton. No, Sam. WrestleMania 25. You've got to understand, yes, the match was bad.
What about 2004?
That's not what I'm on about. That's
when he
what I'm
wins the
talking about.
title, that's a terrible match. What about the Royal Rumble 2005?
We're not talking about that. We're not talking
Revolution
about
2005?
Sam,
what about WrestleMania 24?
Sam, I was a 9-year-old and Triple H threw Randy Orton through the window of his house. That's why this is here. And yet, no, okay. All of what you've said is bad.
I'll let you do it, but let me just so everyone understands. Around 2008 and late 2009 is when I stopped watching wrestling full time, like every single week. I would dip in and out, I would follow it, I would watch Rumble and Manias, but I was done, and I wasn't back until Punk's Pipe Bomb. The main reason I was done was 2 main reasons. One, the Raw general manager rubbish. I was done.
Completely understand.
It was the worst. And I was done and sick of Cena, Orton, and Triple H. I was done. I was sick of it. Another reason like Cena and Orton, I don't want to watch it again. I'm actually done with it. And Triple H and Randy, I couldn't have been more done. You're right. Their WrestleMania 25 rivalry was brilliant because of the Orton character.
Yes.
And then there was the home invasion. But outside of that, this would be on my list for the worst 10 feuds for me.
Well, I don't care. Right, I contrastingly came into wrestling just as you were leaving.
Yeah, it's the difference between a child and a teenager, yeah.
My first one that I probably watched live as a pay-per-view, well, not live, but I kind of was following it, was Raw Rumble 2009, when Randy won the Rumble, but I'd just seen him punt kick Vince McMahon.
I skived off school to watch that.
Did you?
I pretended I pretended I was ill and watched the Royal Rumble.
Wasn't that good if you were adult? It was great for me. Yeah.
It sucked.
But I was so like, well, he's going to get fired because he just punt kicked Vince.
Really good story.
Really good story. But I thought he was going to get fired.
They said he had an illness, didn't they? They said he had a violent disorder type thing.
Yeah, mental illness. And then he RKO'd Stephanie. He punt kicked it. No, I was getting to it. Yeah, sorry. it's a great story. He ends up Punk kicking Shane, but Shane comes back to fight him because he beat up his dad. Completely logical. He RKO's Steph. That's when Triple H first comes out. He's the champion on SmackDown at the time, but he comes out and it's basically like wants to kill Orton quite justifiably because he's killing all of his family. In-laws, granted, so, you know, but he's killing all of his family. And then Orton goes to challenge Triple H at Mania, and the storyline, Sam, it's just yummy. It's brilliant.
That's a lovely storyline. The problem is they had about 5 other storylines that all sucked.
But this is why it's there.
What about the one in 2008?
I'm not listening anymore.
Where it's meant to be Cena Orton, and then Triple H gets implanted with the title, and they have a feud at the end.
I'm not listening to you. He threw him through the window of his own house.
Can I make you happy? And my number 5 has already been said by you.
Go
on. It's AEW. I've got CM Punk and MJF. This is how high I've got it. This is what kept me at AEW because we left in 2019. Both of us did. We'd just been friends and we both went, well, this sucks, this WWE malarkey. This AEW thing looks good. And it stayed good even through COVID. And in the back end after COVID, they came out and they were still really solid. It's had a really shaky couple of years. And I think the fan base isn't helping. I think Dave Meltzer isn't helping. And I don't think Tony Khan is helping. It's become upper echelon. But this put it as a star-making show. This is what people were coming to watch, was how good the Punk MJF thing. Their promos were great. Their matches backed it off. Punk was proving how good he still was, you know. 100%. And MJF was proving how good he could become. It's a bit sad that I don't think he's reached that height, actually, again. You know, I hope he comes back round and really proves it. I think it's been a really bad 18 months or so.
His stock's gone down a bit.
Yeah, I think he had a really bad 2024. And I think he had a really bad since the Adam Cole thing from Wembley onwards. So about 16, 17 months and, you know, into this year, we'll have to see. But yeah, I also agree. I think Punk MJF is the best thing AEW have ever done with Hangman Adam Page and Omega very close. That was actually 12 on my list. The ascent of Hangman Adam Page was really, really good. It didn't quite make
it was more of a storyline for me than a feud.
Yes, and that's why I went, do you know what? It's more about Adam Page getting to that position rather than the thing with Omega. But I'll tell you what's up there. I had a few things, people like from Japan and watching Omega and Jericho in like Japan and stuff like that was amazing, but didn't make much. But yeah, I've got an AEW one as well. Number 4, Sam.
Gone recent again.
Oh, yes.
CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre.
Oh, what a feud.
It has to be there.
Feud
I know it's recent, but I think you've just got to acknowledge it, as Travis Chief would say. You've got to acknowledge how good this feud was. I've not seen a feud like this, where the fact that they got injured, both of them, was such a blessing, because they had to then be creative. I often think that
8 months.
Yeah, the more you're limited in what you can do, the more creative you get. And how creative they were in terms of how they'd get one-ups on each other, more Punk on Drew, but that's kind of the point because Drew's driven to madness. The fact that he'd started this and then was sorry that he'd started it.
It's the fact that Drew kept getting screwed. Constantly kept getting screwed.
And it just works
as the heel.
Character. Yeah, so much. Because you understand...
That's why I like the Money in the Bank cash-in fail. Money in the Bank needs more fails.
Yeah.
And they need more creative fails, and that was a creative fail. They go, oh, they wasted it. No, there are 2 of them.
Yeah.
You're allowed to waste it if it progresses a story. Things are allowed to progress stories, and that was great. I love the clash with the referee.
Yeah.
Great.
I watched that Money in the Bank on Netflix yesterday whilst I was eating, just because it's so fun to watch.
At the end of the day, it won Feud of the Year for us.
Yeah. Amongst competition.
Amongst a lot of competition. Swerve and Hangman Adam Page. It didn't make mine. It was on my list when I was working out. I think I had it at 10th. And then I went, oh no, I prefer that. But it got dropped down. It's the bracelet is what just knocked it for me. I think if they ever revisited it, I think maybe could do it again. I've got a really, really famous one at 4. And this is all pre-me. Okay, so this is not current for me. I started watching in 2001. They were all done. But I've watched everything, and I've loved every single thing they've done. It's Triple H and Mick Foley.
Oh, fair.
I don't care that I wasn't watching at the time. Everything they've ever done is amazing. First of all, 97, before Triple H is anything. That's a star-making thing. Foley makes Triple H there. He shows him that he's a bit more brutal. But then, obviously, you've got the match at the Royal Rumble in 2000 and the match at 2001 in the Hell in a Cell. And they always seem to keep getting him frequently. He was a referee in the 2003 Hell in a Cell with Kevin Nash and stuff like that. Obviously, he was a part of the Evolution storyline, so he's kind of peripheral. Every time Triple H and Mick Foley got in the ring together, they just got it. And Mick Foley, maybe one of the most unselfish wrestlers of all time. Like, he made other people look good by killing himself, which then got him over.
I can't believe he's actually as well as he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's not obviously great, but he's a lot better than you'd think he was.
Absolutely.
For the punishment his bodies go through, so that's really thankful.
But wow, I tell you what, for me, it was just exciting watching them two get to wrestle because they were brutal and they went hell for leather at each other. And it was awesome.
It's one of my... It's a missed opportunity from Raw Rumble 2008. I remember the moment when him and Triple H start swinging in Madison Square Garden. And I'm like, if you made that more of a moment, because that is such an iconic...
They could have done more. They could have done another extra 30 or 40 seconds, but I think the problem is Cena's coming very soon.
Yeah.
Because Triple H was at 29, make him 28.
Yeah.
And then you could have done that.
Yeah,
but that's me.
It's pedantic. But that's
my number 4.
But yeah, I think that's great. I've tried to go with feuds that I have seen, but
no. So did I.
I can't agree more with that.
I've watched too much for me not to enjoy it, even on technically second or.
No, I agree. I'm just saying why these kind of feuds aren't there. For me.
Of course,
But that is just magic. It's golden. Yeah.
Number 3, Sam.
You know, this is a very personal favourite of mine. It's near and dear to me. CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy.
It was my 14th.
Was it?
Yes, it was my 14th, but I'd left wrestling, so I didn't get to enjoy it like you did. But you were a child. It's amazing. It's really good.
It's fantastic. It had no right to be as good as it was. And I was 9.
I disagree. I think it had every right to be as good as it was.
I think
it was a perfect storm.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm, but I think WWE almost didn't put the effort to make it that good. I think it just came from them.
That's what worked, though.
Yeah, that's what was
Punk
organic.
got to say what he wanted because they didn't like each other.
Yeah,
they do not get on.
No,
but they still made magic.
Absolute magic. And I'm a kid, so you'd think I'd be into Cena and all that stuff. I would like anything.
If Jeff's around, Jeff's the one everyone loves.
Agreed, but I would have liked anything. I believed in kayfabe, but Punk and Jeff Hardy, I have a really vivid memory. I was talking to my dad about this. You know when you're a kid and you just ramble to your parents about everything. I was telling my dad, I talked to him on this walk for 30 minutes talking through the Jeff and Punk feud. I was so obsessed with it. I was so invested. I hated CM Punk so much.
Oh, he was awful at the time as well.
Yeah, such a great heel. And I wanted Jeff to win so much. And I remember when Punk, I've talked about it before, beat Jeff in that steel cage match and sent him away from WWE. I was heartbroken.
You were so upset.
To my core. And he did the entrance the week after as Jeff.
You must have believed that.
Of course I believed it was Jeff. Of course then I saw it was Punk. I hated that man so much. And that was the first feud in wrestling that really made me feel something very visceral. And it will never not be special to me.
And also, the matches were all great.
Unbelievable.
They main evented SummerSlam.
Yeah. And
that's how good it was.
They were magical together. And I just wish we could have seen them again.
They broke the monotony of Triple H, Randy Orton and Cena. And it was breath fresh air. And sadly, it was when Jeff was at his worst. And
sadly.
That's what happened with it.
Yeah.
I have one of those men in my next one.
Go on.
And I'm surprised it might have, if it's not so new with yours, but again, it's probably you haven't seen it. It's the TLC crew. It's the Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys, and I don't care what. I know it feels like a cheat, but they're all kind of a feud together. Let's be honest here. They are. You don't even need a feud. You just need them go, hey guys, go put on a banger for us. And they do. Every single time. Every single ladder match, table match, street fight, TLC match they have is legendary. They never failed. And do you know what? They've had some great normal tag team matches. Think of the Dudleys and Edge and Christian at the Royal Rumble 2001. The crowd are going mad. It's a hot crowd. And they put people over. They won to each other.
Yes.
They lost to each other. Their chemistry with each other is immaculate. Edge and Christian need way more praise because I think they're the ones who held that all together, being the smarmy heels and getting so much character out of Jeff and Matt, who were kind of cool, but they didn't have much character. And the Dudleys, who were very shaky when they came in. They're still doing the stuttering gimmick that they'd already got rid of in ECW. So they had to deal with that. And then they went, let's just call it take them as ass kickers, and it worked. Everything they do is amazing. So much so that they ran it back in 2002 with 3 of them in TLC 4. And everyone wanted to see them again in an AEW match. They wanted the Dudleys to be brought back so that they could do it again. Yeah. Let's be honest here. The TLC crew it's one of the greatest feuds of all time. And even though, again, I missed a lot of it, I came in when Edge and Christian split. So literally, these guys were a tag team and then they immediately split. And I'm like, aren't you brothers? What's happening? I don't understand. And then the Dudleys got split up and
Reverend Devon.
4 months later, and I'm like, guys, what's going on? But yeah, for me, the TLC crew. Awesome.
Yeah, I can't
forever
with that. No, I wouldn't have had it down as a feud, but it is
a feud. They always feuded with each other. Yeah, absolutely. Sam, your silver medal feud.
This might surprise you.
Yep.
Because you'll think it's my number 1.
Okay.
Punk versus Cena.
Oh wow, not on my list.
What are you doing?
You know me, the match is amazing, but I've already talked to you about this. Cena's a passenger in all of this, in the whole feud. I think Punk leads all of it. So the feud itself, I don't care as much about it because I care about what Punk's doing, and Cena just happens to be a part of it for me. We talked about before, and we said about what is Cena's, the Cena and Punk match, and we talked about that, and he goes, that's actually one of Cena's best things. Punk is doing other things in my eyes at the time. It's like, is it Punk's best feud? Is it Cena's best feud? And we're like, one it is, and one for that. So for me, no, I haven't got it for me, because I also think they were kind of in and out. The SummerSlam wasn't great.
Well, I'm thinking,
but no, honestly, yeah. I thought about it and I went, you know what? I don't care so much about it. I cared about Punk. I didn't care about the feud. So
I get you. Yeah. I'm just looking at
you're allowed to.
Their body of work, the matches they had. That Raw match with the Power Driver and the Hurricane Rana, that cannot be discounted. And
they've had 2 world-class matches.
Yeah,
two of them.
And when Cena announced he was doing his final run, that everyone's talking about Cena Orton. It's Cena Punk is the match that I looked at and I was like, that is the match that I wanted to see.
That's what we wanted, yeah.
Exactly. So I go, the Money in the Bank match is the line in the bottle, it's the magic. But there's even a 2K showcase mode based on this rivalry because they had so many twists and turns and so many great matches. And again, this is my age era.
Yes, I was going to say, it brought me back to wrestling. When I said it was Punk who brought me back, I didn't care about
this
feud.
Kept me in. I was about to leave when Punk did the pipe bomb, and then this Punk and Cena's feud just kept me going for a bit, and then I trailed off later. It will never not be special in my heart, and I love Punk versus Cena, and it's, I think, both men's best feud, in my opinion.
Here's an interesting one then, because I've got 2 left, and I assume one of them will be the same, maybe even on number 1. I'm curious. So you may have forgotten about this or go, I was very young, because it is from 2008. And if you're talking about Jeff, I think it's 2009, so we're very close. Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels.
Just before me. Just missed it.
Literally, they had 2 feuds, and they were 2 world-class feuds. Let's talk about the first one. The first one is essentially, you're a has-been, I am the new Shawn Michaels, I am better than you. Kind of similar to what Kurt Angle did in WrestleMania 21. And Chris Jericho was doing things like, I'm going to enter Royal number 1. You can't. Shawn's entered at number 1. And it's like, I'll be number 2 then, and I'll do the same. Great. And they showed clips of Jericho and Shawn doing the same moves when they were young.
Oh, so you're going the 2003 and the 2008.
There's feuds.
Yeah.
They have 2 bangers, and then obviously they get to WrestleMania 19 and they just nail it. Absolutely nail it. World-class match. And then, nothing to do with each other. Shawn beats Flair. Batista gets annoyed that Shawn is beating Flair. Shawn then fakes an injury in the match with Batista, where Jericho just so happens to be the referee. Can't even remember why. He beats Batista. Batista then moves on. Jericho then attacks Shawn for essentially lying, slams his face into the Titantron, the Jerichotron 5000, which actually got Shawn a bit injured because it actually read it. And suddenly, Jericho becomes suit-clad Jericho. And then he punches Shawn's wife at SummerSlam, and actually punches Shawn's wife at SummerSlam. And that felt real that Shawn might be retiring. And then they had the non-sanctioned brawl where he beats him to a pulp. And Jericho wins the world title in the same night after being beaten to a pulp where they had to do a stoppage so that they can have their ladder match. And this is why, guys, you need to do one-on-one ladder matches. Stop doing just multi-man ladder matches. Because one-on-one ones can be brilliant. And that one-on-one ladder match at No Mercy is one of the greatest ladder matches of all time. And they do a spot that I was yearning for then, where they both have the title and they're both pulling for it. I actually think they could have done more there, but it was like, about time somebody did this spot. Yeah. So for me, generally, this feud, is it something that I am excited by? Is it something that I'm like, no, it's not something I always yearn for or look for. I even told you in another video that I actually found the Jericho-Shawn Michaels match in 19 boring. As a child. As an adult, I'm like, this is amazing. What was I doing as a child? I found Kurt Angle boring as a child, but you do.
Clearly hadn't yet developed a vision.
Yeah, I hadn't. Well, you had characters and the guy just wrestles, so, but...
he's not just a wrestler.
But, yes. Well, he hadn't been funny stuff yet for me. It wasn't until they saw him do stuff with Cena. He was a heel when I first joined it. You're not being funny as a heel. But for me, Jericho Shawn Michaels is wow for me. That's my number 2. Our gold medal position. Do we have the same feud? Because I feel we do.
Do you want to do 3, 2, 1?
We'll do a 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3 2, 1.
Undertaker,
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, different order. Yeah, always. I was literally 10 years old. I have really vivid memories. You just have some random memories as a child. I had a friend who was in the year above, and I'd go around to his house for these manias and watch them. And I remember being in the canteen. I think it was the Friday before the Sunday of WrestleMania 26. And I just remember being so excited to see, because I still didn't know it was fake, I don't think. I was still like, can Shawn beat him? And we were talking about it like, can he actually go and beat the streak? I'll never have that same excitement for wrestling again because I was a kid and the story was just perfect. Long-term storytelling. I've never seen anything like it, really, in terms of how you've got Shawn just deteriorating, saying, it's so simple, but yet so brilliant. I have to beat him for my ego to say that I am the best. I am Mr. WrestleMania. I can beat him. And he couldn't, and it's what destroyed him.
And they put on 2 of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. Some people even say they're the best 2 WrestleMania matches. But don't forget, they also had their feud in 97, for the first ever Hell in a Cell, which then moved into a casket match. In 98, they also had an incredible rivalry then as well, where they just had chemistry. I liked their feud going into WrestleMania 25, even though there wasn't much of a feud, which leads into the 26. I'm not going to lie. Every time they were in the ring, it was magic. Is it my favourite feud of all time? It might actually not be. Might actually be Kane and Shane. But might just be the silliest thing.
This is the video.
But every time, you can't deny that every time they were together, there's joy, you had expectation, and they never failed. Like, you even throw in things where it was just them together, the Royal Rumble 2007. The greatest ending to a Royal Rumble in terms of a one-on-one.
And that started the whole thing.
And that's what started off. So I think it's pretty obvious from 2 different generations in 2 different ways. Children to before I was watching wrestling to an adult. It's ours. I definitely understand it. But you're going to have some different ones to us. So what is your number 1? What is your favourite feud of all time? What are your top 10? You can even write that down for us. Please don't forget to comment for us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on all the social medias on X and Blue Sky and all that jazz. And we will see you next time with another Count Out video. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.